Welcome to PowerPoint Basics. I'm Sandy McVeigh, and I've had a request from some of my students to record what we do in our walkthrough class here in Newark, Delaware. So just go ahead and open up your version of PowerPoint. Pretty much any version will do because this is a basics class. This is the normal view that you're in right now, and the different views are down at the bottom. There's normal, slide sorter that would show all of your slides, reading view, and slideshow view. This is the zoom tool down here in the corner, and we're now at 78% during this recording. We may be flipping back and forth between these, so I just wanted you to see where these were. There's also a notes pane here for the presenter if they wanted to leave notes if this was for a slideshow, but this is just basic, so we're just going to be designing on one slide. So I'm going to just get rid of that notes pane. Also, we're only using one slide, so I don't need the thumbnails over here. So I'm going to close this pane over here. If you wanted that to come back, the way that you bring it back is just by clicking the normal view icon again, and it brings back that thumbnail view. So I've pasted a little picture in here. This is a sample of what we'll be designing. It's a lost dog flyer that you might see on your local telephone pole. And it just uses some of the basic skills so that you have more control over your space. So here we go. By default, our page is set up to be landscape. For our sample, we want to switch that orientation to portrait. I'm going to click on the Design tab, and that opens the Design ribbon. And I'm going to go to Page Setup. In this version, I'm using Office 2010. If you were in Office 2013, the page setup is over on the right-hand side. I'm going to go to the slide orientation. They break it out here for you, and I'm just going to choose Portrait. If you were using 2013 and you went to Page Setup, you would see something sort of like this, and you would choose Portrait. Okay. Notice the sizes are here right now, and rather than there's the on-screen show of 4:3, that's what I want. If you're in 2013, the setting would be called Standard. Most things are going to widescreen now. We see, widescreen movies and widescreen monitors, but still the 4:3 is a good standard to use for places that maybe don't have the latest and greatest projectors when you end up doing slideshows. So you may want to switch to standard or 4:3. Okay, so the slide size is 7.5 by 10. So if you think of that compared to a standard sheet of paper of 8.5 by 11, that's giving you a half an inch margin all around your page, and I'm fine with that. I'll click OK, and because I've changed my slide size, it's warped my sample over here to the side, so I'm just going to resize that a little bit. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click in this box here, the title box, and type have you seen this dog? Alrighty. So from the corners, if I want to resize this box, I can just bring it down from the corner, and that changes the box proportionally. That'll make much more sense when we're doing images. The squares around the sides of the box will let it change either horizontally or vertically. Alrighty. So I'm going to pull that out. And as you click in the box, if you click in the box, you'll see that the lines around the edge of the box are dotted, and my mouse is blinking inside the word this. If I wanted to change the word seen to a different color, I could click in seen and change just that word to red. If I wanted to change all of the text in this placeholder box, I would click on the outer edge, and now you see a solid line. And now if I were to change the text, did a little slip there. I'd rather do something a little more noticeable. Okay, you can see it affects all the text in the box. Whatever changes I would make would affect all the text, including color change. Okay, so clicked in the box, mouse is clicked and selected one word. Any changes you make only affect that one word. You have the outer edge selected. It's a solid line that affects everything in the box. Okay, So now I'm going to pick up this box. You see as I hover over the line, I get this symbol that looks like the center of a compass, and that's our move tool. I'm just going to move it up to the top of the page. And just because I'm loosely trying to match our sample, I'm going to change it to white. And I'll just put the shadow on it so that I can see it right now. After I add a background, it'll pop out again. Okay, so here's a little clip art, and I'm just going to go to the Insert ribbon. So picture would be a picture on my computer that I have downloaded and I can upload and add to the mix. I'm going to go to clip art, and I'm looking for a $sign because we have a reward for Fluffy. And here's the most common one, and it's the one I just pulled up. So we'll resize this just so it looks about like the sample. And we can always come back and change that. And use the rotate tool to get it on the angle that we want. Okay, just showing you how that works. Alright, so now I'm going to just use this click to add subtitle box. It's a placeholder box. I will explain that when I do a slideshow. It has no bearing when we're just doing this practice with the basics, but just keep in mind that there are differences between something called a placeholder and a text box. So a placeholder is where it says click to add text. Alright, I'm going to change this text to something along the lines that I used for the word reward. And yeah, it looks like it might have been Forte. I made this sample a long time ago, so I'm not sure. I'm just going to make that smaller. Bring it up here. I'm going to choose sort of a yellowish color. Rotate that. And just to show you about this size, so you've seen me change the font a couple times from the font choices. In the font group, there's also sizing. So the default size is 18 for PowerPoint. And just to give you an idea of measurement, if you ever see 72, that means when it prints out, it would print out to an inch tall. 36 would be half an inch, 18 would be a quarter of an inch, and 9 would be about an eighth of an inch. You can just pick a different size, a different number from the list, and click to make it stick. So it's always click it to stick it. Or let's say you want a specific size that's not shown. Simply type the numbers that you want. So I will type, say, 52 and hit enter. And now that font is set to 52 for this box. Okay. Here we go. And of course, I'm never going to get this exactly like I had in my sample. So now I want to put the rest of this text about the information about our poor puppy. So I'm going to insert a text box. I'm going to go to the Insert tab, choose Text Box, and this is what confuses people. Text box is turned on. You see the glow behind it, and when you come down to your workspace, you're going to see this arrow that points down. Have faith. Just click and start typing, and you'll see that all of your text will fit. So I'll just type this out. She'll come to anyone for a dog biscuit. Last seen on Saturday morning in our backyard. Okay. So I'll just take this text. I want to move it. So you see I have the move tool. This allows me to move it. And PowerPoint has these nice little dotted lines that show up that allow you to sort of snap alignment to an invisible grid. So that's not anything that's going to print, but it does help you when you're arranging things. I'm going to change the font size to something larger that they can see on the telephone pole as they drive by. And I'm going to close this window for just now for my clip art, and you can see it's gone off the slide. And in fact, if I click the normal view to bring back that preview, you can see that all the text doesn't fit. So I need to resize this box, and I can do it from either side. Remember how we were doing that? We just pull from the squares. Now because I've set the size for this box to a certain size, it's not going to rescale. Placeholders will rescale as far as the size. So if I've found that 54 is too big, I might want to change it to 36. And my notes pane popped back up here for some reason, so I'm going to put that back. And I'm going to change my zoom so that you can see the whole worksheet. I just took it down to 48. If I click on the number 48, there are some preset options we could choose. So I'm at 50% now. Great. And as I compare it to my flyer, it's still off a bit. So I'm going to do 28. Okay, I'm feeling 28 is a good proportion. Okay, so now let's insert a picture of our puppy. So I'll go to insert, and if it was our own dog, we would have a picture that we could just browse to and bring it in. But I'm going to go to clip art, and I'm going to put in dog. And we see lots of great dogs. That would be, you know, very, very sad for their owners to lose. So let's pick this guy, or let's pick this one. This one's too funny. So now I've brought in two, okay, because I couldn't decide. So I've brought in two pictures of dogs because I want you to learn more about this idea of arranging layers. Everything that we do in PowerPoint, it's on its own separate layer. All of these text boxes, placeholders, images, they're all on a layer. It's sort of like scrapbooking, and you may have to rearrange those layers to be able to see everything you want to see. So let's pick this beautiful blue one, the one with the blue background, and let's say we want that to be in the back. Okay. We would come to the picture tools. The picture tools contextual tab shows up, and we would go to format. In the arrange group, I'm going to say to send it to the back. That puts it absolutely behind everything. See, it's behind our text, it's behind our reward images, it's behind everything, including this big dog with the silly tongue. Okay? It has gone to the back. I'm going to now bring it to the front, and now you see it covers everything. Absolutely everything. It's absolutely to the front. If you only want to send it backward one layer at a time, okay, I chose backwards, and the very first time it puts it behind the other dog because it was the last thing we brought in. If I click send backward again, it puts it behind that text that we just added again, and it's behind our little dollar sign, and again, and it puts it behind our reward text. Okay, it's also one more time, and it puts it behind our title text. So you can see what that is doing. Backward and forward changes it one layer at a time. Bring to front or send to back does it absolutely in the front or the back as far as the placement. Extremely important for you to know how this works. So I'm going to get rid of our silly dog. I have the image selected, and I'm just hitting the delete key on my keyboard. It's that easy. Or you could right click and hit delete. So now that we have this beautiful picture, I want to look at the picture tools and some of the options we have here. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that I don't have competition with the text right now, so that I can zoom in on this in my post-production so you can see exactly what I'm doing to this picture. So picture tools and format. Okay, as I hover over these borders, you can see it puts a nice little border on the picture, and at the end of this window in picture styles there are even more borders. So in my sample with Fluffy, I had picked this 3D kind of angle. Okay, and so as a reminder, what do I have to do to make it stick? I have to click. So click it to stick it, and here's the border I have for this beautiful dog. If I wanted to change this border now, I could change the color. And as I hover over it, you'll see different colors come up here. Maybe I want this dark blue. Okay. The picture effects, there are all sorts of things that you can do as far as shadowing. Okay, inside and outside. And all I can say is you should just play with these because they're just lots of fun. And this is when I usually lose the class because they have too much fun on it. There's reflection. So reflection is like, in the water. For this particular application, I would say no reflection is probably best because it's going to be on this poster and it's just going to muddy up the image. Glowing lets you put a little bit of extra glow around it and try and find a color that shows up. You can see that orange. You can do more glow colors, so you can choose whatever color you want to be the glow. And also how much of a glow there is under the customizing and the more glow options. Soft edges, okay, sort of feathers that out. You can't see it so much on this particular style with this border, but if I didn't have any border on the picture, you could see that style a little better. So let's take this border off. Okay. Yes. So I have the picture selected. There's the option in the adjust group to reset the picture, and that puts it back to the original. So any changes I've made to it will go away. So now if I come to the picture effects and I look at the soft edges, you can see that it fuzzes out that edging, which may be what you want. Beveling, okay, we'll change it. This beveling works better with shapes than with pictures, but it's certainly something that you can do. And the 3D rotation, okay, you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. So all of those things are built right into PowerPoint nowadays. The other things that you might be able to do, especially if it's your own picture, it may not be perfect and you may need to correct the exposure. So you can change the brightness and contrast if necessary. Of course, they're only going to have the most optimally adjusted pictures in the gallery, so this one's fine. The last thing you may want to do is do a color wash. So not so much for this application, but when you are doing a presentation, you may want images in there to just supplement your information and not necessarily be full color to where it's going to draw the audience's eye. So color washing is really nice because you can have it match your theme. And finally, artistic effects, which I don't think are being used all that often, but they're kind of fun. Okay, you could do the glow edges and X-ray. Now the dog looks almost like a Dalmatian. And again, we can just reset back to the original. Let's talk about cropping. Cropping comes in handy when you want to remove some of the background from a picture or focus in on just a section of it. So here we have our little dog. I'm going to click crop. So you'll see when cropping is turned on, there are the little black lines around the edge of the frame. Now, if you see as I drag those over, we're going to just be focusing on just part of the picture. So let's say I just wanted my puppy's eyes. Now when I click crop again, you'll see that only the eyes are showing. So think about this with a big group shot, and you might want to, cut out the creeper on the side or the person that doesn't quite fit with the group, or you just want to do heads and not full bodies. This is how you can achieve that. You can always turn crop back on to reveal part of the picture and get rid of that background just as much as you want. Now, when you are talking about picture size, you can actually compress all of the pictures in your presentation to delete the cropped areas. So if you have a lot of high resolution pictures that you've taken with a camera that uses megapixels, you might find that your PowerPoint gets very large. So by deleting the cropped areas of the picture, and if you choose uncheck to apply only to this picture, you'll get rid of the cropping for everything that you've done in your presentation. I'm going to click OK. And now if I turn on crop again, you'll see I can't bring back that blue background. If I choose reset, I still can't bring that back. If I look at my fluffy picture, you're going to see that all I did was apply a 3D rotation to Fluffy. That's it. Okay. So now we're going to put a text box here to label our puppy's name. And we're going to say insert text box. Click and have faith that it's going to work. And our puppy's name here is, we'll call this one Big Nose. Okay. And when we have this box selected, we can make it larger. And drawing tools and formatting is available. So we're going to click on the format and we're going to go to the shape effect, and we have those same controls. So all I wanted to do is 3D rotation and to have it match. Okay. And I also inserted a shape. So if I make a shape, and I format that, and I want to do the shape effect and 3D rotation, and you see that matches down. Alrighty. And now I want to send this back, right? I want to send it backward behind the text. So there we go. You can do some, like a little bit of alignment. We can bring this forward to the front and mess around a little more with the rotation to get exactly what you want. We can also rotate the text. The other thing that you can do when you have a shape is you can right click on that shape. So right click will always give you a menu of what you can do from any place, and we can edit the text. So I can actually type Big Nose right within that shape instead of having a different box, and then it matches that angle perfectly. You can see the difference. Okay. So I'll get rid of my text box just to show you how you can add that text to the shape, which is a better solution at this point. Alright. Also, if you want to drawing tools format, the rotation tool is in the arrange group, and we've just been freehanding the rotation, but you can go to more rotation options and be very precise for how far it is rotated. We'll go to the 3D rotation, and you can see it's a little confusing because you have the X and the Y and the Z axis and the perspective of 80. So you might have to just play around with it a little bit. Okay, so this is the perspective. You can see how it's sort of swinging this back and forth. We can change the X. Okay, just sort of swinging it around, and the Y and the Z. So now that we've got those all aligned nicely, okay, there you go. Also, the arrow keys between your keyboard and your number pad. There are arrow keys on a regular Windows keyboard that let you nudge your content around to get it aligned just the way you want. And when you have it just the way you want, that's great. If you need to do little nudges, like the regular nudge is too big, you can hold down the control key and you'll get an even smaller nudge. So it's even tinier nudges. Okay. All right. So let's say that we would like these two objects to act as one unit now, so we can move them around. I'm going to click on the first, the shape, and hold down the shift key and click on the dog picture. And now you'll see that drawing tools formatting and picture tools formatting are both turned on. So the picture tools is on for the dog picture, the drawing tools is on for that shape box. I'm going to go to format for either one, and in the arrange group I'm going to click grouping, and I'm going to group those two objects. So now these objects can be picked up and moved as one. They can even be resized together. Okay. Now the text, if I get too small, I will have to adjust the size of the text, but that's no big matter. I would just double click on it and change the text size to something larger or smaller. So you can edit anything, but this makes it very easy to move it around. Alright, so now we're going to add our phone number down here, and we're going to use Word Art for that. I'm going to go to Insert and Word Art and choose a style that we like. So we will choose this one, and we'll just say, please call. Alrighty, and that is no one's phone number that I know of. So if someone calls this looking for Big Nose, please don't, because it's just a made-up phone number. And we can choose different word art styles very simply, and that changes all of that text. Okay, so you see there's shadowing and outlining all as part of the word art style. If we were to go to the Design tab now and click one of the built-in designs, you'll see that colors and fonts are associated with the different themes that change everything that we've brought in here, as far as our placeholders and our background colors and our word art. Okay, it's even changed our text in our text box, although that's not always the case, but this time it did. Okay, I guess in 2010, the way I did the text box, it changed that as well. So if we hover over these, we can see different themes. So the most important thing is that your content, and then you could go back and apply a color scheme if you want and make adjustments. So I'm going to just click on this one just because you can see all that saturated color, and that gives me the opportunity to tell you about colors, fonts, and effects palettes. So there are many different palettes in here. And let's say for your theme you like what the graphics look like, but you're not sure of the colors. You might want to change the colors. So this, as you can see, changes the color palette. And I'm going to go to that one that was red. I kind of like that red one. The fonts change your set of fonts. You can see which one is selected because it's got the orange glow, but you could choose a different one if you like that better. Okay. I don't like this, how this reward is looking. I think it really needs a shadow behind it so we can see that. Alrighty, so but this background that I have going was just a gradient. So let's go back to Design, and I'm choosing More, and I'm just going to make it blank. You can make your own background style, again on Design, but in the background, and now you can format your background. You can do a solid fill, a picture fill, a pattern fill. We're going to look at gradient fill. And in 2010, there are preset colors. In 2013, I couldn't find this anymore, but the idea is the same, and you can pick your own color palette. It just does it with a wash of colors. So here's our sample, and you're going to see the colors are similar to what I used in the original flyer. Instead of linear, I'm just going to choose a radial shape. And you'll see now it's almost identical as far as coloring. We have a different dog and different background, and that's fine. And here are all the gradient stops that are making that blend of colors. So if you were going to do your own, you can also change the direction if you wanted it to be in a different direction, but I do like that one. So if I were to click on, say, this stop, I could change the color. Let's do this one because you can see that better. I could change the color to whatever I want, and you see where that is affected in our rainbow radial. Okay. So I don't like that color, so I'm just going to go and click back on. I can just remove this or add a new one. I'm going to remove that gradient stop altogether, and that's fine. So that's how you add new stops or remove stops that exist in your preset. Once I'm happy, I'll just click apply, and close this window. And now you're all ready to go. I do want to suggest that if you are printing these and you have a lot to print, that full color takes a lot of ink and toner, and you may want to consider designing with a white background and just printing on color paper. But if you are passing this out digitally, then this is going to be very eye-catching and people will probably respond. So I hope this was helpful to you for the basics of PowerPoint, and I'm Sandy McVeigh. Hope to see you on my YouTube channel again. If you have any questions, you can visit my website, Sandy McVeigh, SandyMcvey.com, and contact me if you have questions. I'm always happy to help. Have a great day.